Hi everyone, and finally we are meeting again at the Bangalore Center. And I think now the audio was clear there also in Hyderabad, but I think the video quality would be much better now. So first of all, tell me that if the audio and video is clear to everyone. So Nama Bangalore to everyone, and I hope everyone is doing very well. The festivals of Makar Sankranti and Pongal were very good for you, and I hope the same way you get your results also. So welcome everyone. So now I can also see myself as bright and sunny. Good morning, Parikshit. Good morning, Bhuvan. Yes, it's a great achievement for the submarine Vakshir and the destroyer Surat and the frigate Nilgiri. It's a splendid achievement of the Indian Navy and the indigenization which is going on and the Make in India which is going on. And finally, we are on the track. Three important, a stealth, a frigate, a warship and submarine, they are being commissioned on the same day. It is really superb. There is no doubt about it. Thank you very much, Bhuvan. Thank you very much, Parakshit, and everyone. I know for some days, since I was in Hyderabad, there was a different kind of issues. Today also we were setting it up again, and many of you want to meet me also. So day after, from tomorrow onwards, we can start meeting whoever the meets are pending, and everything will start back again. So good morning, everyone. So so today is 16th January 2025. Moving towards the important news. Before I move towards the important news, OGP 2026 batch 2 is starting on 6th February 2025. So your friends who need the UPSC proper civil services guidance, you can refer it to them. If you yourself are looking for an offline personalized guidance, you can come and join this batch, which includes GS, CSAT, SA, the batch offline and online guidance program 2026. This is designed under the guidance of Vinay sir, who is the founder and director of Insights IAS, and you can also scan the QR code for all the details. And the second important announcement is related to prelims booster students who are appearing for UPSC 2025, which this prelims booster include 30 GS and 16 CSAT test, which will enhance your preparation for upcoming UPSC prelims 2025. For all the details related to prelims batch, mains batch, every batch, just call on the number 80 69 40 5205 and you will get all the important details. Okay. Now coming back to the thought for the day, which we used to do every day and still do, accept no one's definition of your life, define yourself. So many times, people are trying to define you that you should do this, you should do this. Most importantly, if you keep listening to what people are telling, I'm not specifically talking about your parents. Your parents will have very good intentions. I'm talking about the outside society which tries to belittle you or which tries to tell you that you don't have it in you, you cannot make it, you should not try this, you don't have the courage to do this, you don't have the background to do this, you don't have the schooling to do this, you don't have the language to do this. So there are many people around you who might be belittling you or who might be telling you that you don't have the capability to do this. Please don't listen to these people. There are always people in our lives who would always be trying that, we should not succeed, and they are just negative people in the life. So just avoid them, focus on your goal, focus on your strength, focus your energy and move towards your goal, and I'm very sure that you would be achieving it. So this is the wonderful thing which the Harvey Firstein he has said it, and this is the brain, this is the part of the brain. So this is the part of the brain where you need to put positive thoughts, positive energy and intended energy towards your goals. Okay. So now moving towards some important news for the day. Gaza ceasefire agreement ready, says US and Hamas. So we have been covering Gaza Hamas for a very long period of time. Everybody knows at Daily Decode that we cover it and there is no doubt about it. Okay. And and we have gone through multiple actions which have been done by Israel, the action against Hezbollah, the actions against Iran, Hamas, Houthis, and then we also had discussed what happened in Syria, the HTS. So when it comes to Middle East, we have done and dealt in detail in the Hindu decodes. Now today, finally, a positive news has come. Some days back, the Donald Trump had said that by the time he takes presidency, which is happening on 20th of January, 2025, 10:30 p.m. You can also watch it at IST timings. He said that before I take the presidency, it is very important that all the hostages which has been taken by Hamas, they would be released. Otherwise, hell will broke. And I think the effect is happening. And unlike Joe Biden, which could not, which could not rein, rein the regime of Benjamin Netanyahu, Donald Trump is not like that. Donald Trump and his advisor behind the cameras have given a solid, deadline and given a solid verbal verdict to Benjamin Netanyahu that accept this deal, that of ceasefire, because this is the same ceasefire deal which was given to Benjamin Netanyahu earlier also when Joe Biden was the president. He's still the president till 20th, but he did not accept. But now the pressure is coming a lot from Donald Trump and his team, which would be taking over on 20th of January. So finally the truce is happening, and this is very good for the world because Israel, Hamas, Israel, Hezbollah, already the ceasefire has happened, and now we are moving towards positive positive direction. And I hope once the Donald Trump takes the seat, the Russia-Ukraine war also, finally the solutions will come. Submarine 2 warship commissioned in one go. This we are talking about Vakshi, Surat and Nilgiri. Bangladesh Supreme Court acquits Khalida Zia, clearing her way to contest election. So BNP, which is a very radicalist right-wing party of Bangladesh, her top leader Khalida Zia, who was, basically she was behind the bars and she came out. So there were a lot of corruption cases against. Now the setting and everything I probably think is happening. And eventually all these radicalist Islamist leaders now are in the open, and the Supreme Court and High Courts are also doing whatever the current interim government, what it looks like. But whatever they would be saying that, democratically she has been, given the, she has been acquitted. In editorial, we'll talk about the Baro tragedy which happened in Assam. We'll talk about it. India must learn. This is related to rat hole mining. Now, rat hole mining came in news also when, when these miners were trapped in the Silkyara tunnel in the Uttarakhand, if you remember. So, huge amount of effort was required by the government and was done, and everyone was saved. So, mostly everyone was saved. And finally, so we'll go into the detail of rat hole mining, then Q&A and extra oil also. And now in questions you must be seeing, I'm giving you a expected answer line also, which will help you to make your answer. I am keep repeating that please write your answers in the comment section, whatever your doubts are or some topics you want me to cover. Because every time what happens is that I'm covering from newspaper, might be some important news I missed which you might have read in Indian Express or some other newspaper. So make sure that you write in comments. You guys are not writing comments. You guys are not liking the session. Please like the session, comment it and share it with your friends. Because as I've told you many times, we are a family and this is how we will grow. So please write in the comment section your doubts, your questions, which I can after the session look towards it and I will answer them. Okay. So with this important news, editorials for the day, let's move towards the first important news. Okay. So Gaza ceasefire agreement ready, US and Hamas. So 3 countries are behind this agreement which were working, that was Egypt, Qatar and America. And finally the agreement is happening. I've already given you the background to this. One of the major reasons this is happening is Donald Trump push, and Donald Trump is coming. Some days back he had already told the Hamas that the hostages, if they are not given back, hell will break on all the Hamas. And I think this has worked. And Benjamin Netanyahu also, strict guidelines have been given to him to accept the ceasefire guidelines. Otherwise, the support of the Americans and the aid and the money and the defense weapons which are coming, that might be stopped. And I think Benjamin Netanyahu has been able to, strengthen his position, and he has been able to achieve most of his intended targets. See, first of all, the target, let's talk about Hamas. Hamas' entire spine and back has been broken. They are dismantled. Their top leaders have been eliminated. Let's talk about Hezbollah. Same thing has happened. Nasrallah is gone. Most of the leaders have been killed, and Hezbollah has been put now north of the Litani River. Same has been on Houthis. Multiple attacks have been done by the Israeli Air Force, and they are also dismantled. So axis of resistance under the Iran, it has gone. It has no power. It has gone. And this we also saw in Syria. Hezbollah, Iran and Russia, which used to support the Bashar al-Assad regime, that has also gone. Bashar al-Assad he has run away from Syria. Now he's staying in Russia. And in Syria right now, it is the regime of HTH which looks to be pro-Europeans, and it might be pro-Israel also, which only time will tell it would be pro-Israel or not. But the amount of attacks which were done by Israel when the HTS has taken over, no strong comments against Israel had come at that point of time, when Israel was destroying all chemical warfare weapons and the weapons and the military installations of Bashar al-Assad regime. So it might be that they might be pro-Israel or not, only time will tell, but no strong comments came. So in all, Israel has been able to do a major victory all over the world. Benjamin Netanyahu has been able to put his leadership, and now getting back the hostages is the final thing which he needs to do. And he has strengthened his political position also, though some of his ministers are forcing and telling him that he should not accept the ceasefire. But I think now he will not have that kind of leverage which he had against Joe Biden. That will not happen with Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is very clear in his vision. He wants both the wars to be stopped, be it the Hamas war, Israel Houthi, Israel Hezbollah, or Israel Iran war. He is very clear about it. And second important thing is Russia-Ukraine war to be stopped. Third important third important thing Donald Trump would be looking towards is dismantling the nuclear structures of Iran. Because currently Iran has already, enriched the uranium more than 60%. Once you enrich the uranium by 90%, then once you enrich the uranium by 90%, then you start getting weapons grade uranium. Now they would want that the Iran should not be able to do this, and as per the JCPOA, that's a Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or Iran nuclear deal, not more than 3-4% of enriched uranium should have been done. But again, that deal was broken. US came out of it because they thought that Iran though have signed this deal, but they are still working on their nuclear weapons ambition. So I think a lot of pressure by the Americans and Israel on Iran's Khamenei and their nuclear weapons program would be there to dismantle it. So this also would be one of the most important agendas. That would be Russia-Ukraine war, then this Iran nuclear game, and third, obviously, I'm not necessarily in this order, I'm just telling you three important areas. And third is Israel, Israel-Iran or Israel-Hamas. I think that is almost now in a workable condition. And what I've told you in 2024 sessions, that by the, from January to May, June, most of these wars would be over. And the focus of Americans and the focus of Europeans would be now more or less towards China. And China is the main threat. Even if you go through the national security strategies of Europe, if you go through the national security strategy of America, most important threat to these countries comes from China. But since America and Europe were tied in Russia-Ukraine war, they were tied up in Israel war, they did not have their both hands free to focus on China. Now the focus will also go on China. And as we go towards the second news, that India's defense system and defense, military complexes are also becoming strong. The tie-up of, Donald Trump and Narendra Modi, the President of America and the Prime Minister of India, would only be strengthening with coming time. So these are the important news. Significant deal has been, between Israel and Hamas, potentially pausing the devastating conflict in Gaza. Agreement mediated by the US, Qatar and Egypt raises hopes of halting wars and addressing the ongoing humanitarian crisis. So this war started on Hamas. This war, to give you a background, this started on 7th of October when Hamas had attacked Israel. Okay, they had attacked Israel on 7th October 2023, killing 1,200 Israelis and captured 250 hostages, and some of the most brutal things were done by them. Women were raped there, and they had taken small babies, and put them in microwave oven and fried them. That is exactly what this Hamas militant attack had been done, and many top commanders behind this attack were there, and eventually everyone was eliminated. When they attacked, then this retaliation happened. So people condemn Israel. People condemn Israel. They start supporting Hamas. Please go and read about it. You don't have the exact knowledge. Yes, Israel actions can be condemned, but you need to realize what is the genesis of it. If you start going in the genesis of Israel-Palestine, you will realize these militants and terrorist attacks started by the Palestinians only. Okay, or that matter Hamas and the other organization. Now, once you kill Israeli people, obviously they will have the right to retaliate. Now, right to retaliate, whenever you retaliate, there would be a huge amount of collateral damage, and that happened on both sides. So Israeli killed over 46,000 Palestinians, displacing 90% of the Gaza population. And you also get to know, I've told you multiple times, Hezbollah, Hamas, what they will do is that if there is a 5-floor building, the 5th floor, the Hamas, and the basement would be occupied by the Hamas organization, and the rest civilians are staying. And when the Israeli forces would be attacking the Hamas, obviously civilians will die. So civilians also know that the Hamas organization is sitting there, and there is a huge amount of support. Many of them might not even know that Hamas is sitting there. That can also be there. But when you are attacking a militant organization, collateral damage will happen. So I'm not justifying what Israel is did, but nobody can justify what Hamas has did. These are two organizations fighting against each other. Hamas was not expecting that Israel will go on such a dismantling and brutally massacre them. But that is what Israeli did this time. And this was the confidence they had earlier that nothing will happen against them. Okay. Now, humanitarian crisis, tens of thousands of homes destroyed, hospital on the verge of collapse. Expert warn of famine in northern Gaza due to blockades and continuous offensive. Real deal, and every details will be finalized soon. And Hamas will release 33 of the nearly hostages in the phase over 6 weeks. And similarly, Israel would also be releasing 100 of Palestinian prisoners. Most important thing is that the problem which is happening in Gaza, there's a huge requirement of aid. Okay. Flooding Gaza with much needed aid, addressing severe shortages. This would be the most important thing. Displaced Palestinians would be returned to remains of their homes. An initial 6 weeks halt to fighting with negotiation on ending the war would be followed. But finally, if you read all this and understand all this, what we need to understand is that who will be doing the post-war reconstruction? Who would be funding this post-war reconstruction? And when this reconstruction happens, who will be the in charge? These are certain questions which needs to be answered. Specifically, if you leave this region like this, it would become destabilized, and most of the times, whenever a region becomes destabilized in Middle East, and there is a vacuum of administration and forces and security and government, that is utilized by extremist terrorist organization, and ISIS is one of the example which we saw in Syria also. So similarly, we want that this should not be destabilized, and there should be one organization who takes care of this entire issue. So key Hamas demands are complete Israeli troop withdrawal from Gaza, release of remaining captives in exchange for broader negotiation. I personally don't feel completely Israel troop withdrawal will happen as of now, because Israel and the Americans, Israel would be continuously saying that if we remove our troops, there can be a security problem. So this might be there. A certain amount of troops would always be there, specifically the situation what has happened. Probably in coming 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, when situation stabilizes, Hamas is completely broken and gone, then, or they leave their terrorist tendencies, then this might happen. Okay, so ceasefire deal follows a similar agreement which was done between Israel and Hezbollah, and this was Egypt, US and Qatar were behind this. So this was a very important news, and finally positive news is coming from the world. So what do you think about it? What are your thoughts on this? Please share your views. Do you think this is a positive development? What do you think? Do you think it's a positive development? I'm not talking about this news, the previous news. This is definitely a positive development. Okay, so moving to the next important news, that is submarine 2 warship commissioned in one go. So 2 warships is your INS Surat and INS Nilgiri, and INS Vakshir is the submarine which has been commissioned, and they were commissioned on the same day, and one of them, INS Surat, has been completed in around 31 months it has been done. So from around, it used to take 4 years and 5 years, now we have moved to 2.5 years. So this also shows the speed, the accuracy, the indigenization speed. It looks like obviously once we created our own aircraft carrier, from that time it was said the Indian Navy has arrived in terms of making its own weapons and armaments, in terms of aircraft carriers, ships and frigates, and finally this is being proven again and again. So a wonderful chapter in the history of the Indian Navy. It will go as the one of the glorious days in the annals of the Indian Navy, there is no doubt about it. So India marked a significant milestone with the simultaneous commissioning of 3 frontline platforms, that is INS Nilgiri, INS Vakshir and INS Surat. Now INS Surat is a warship, INS Nilgiri is a top class stealth frigate, and INS Vakshir is a submarine. And a prelims question can definitely come from this. So this was a historic event. Prime Minister was there, and it also is a leap forward. It also shows how we are actually being able to implement the Atmanirbhar Bharat, underscores India's growing maritime strength and focus on indigenization in defense production. So obviously we are moving towards it. So INS Nilgiri, it's a lead ship. It is part of project 17A frigate. It is a frigate. Okay, you see these frigate and warships near the, most of the time if the entire aircraft carrier and its fleet is going on, so you will see warships also and you will see frigates also. So INS Nilgiri is one of the top stealth frigates. Stealth means, when I use this word stealth, that means the radar aperture, if the radar or sonar is being used to find the position and location of this frigate, it would be the blip on the radar would be very low, because it's a stealth frigate. It would be very difficult to find its location. So frigate of project 17A frigates. Then INS Surat is the 4th and final warship, that is the INS destroyer of project 15B destroyer. So it's a top class warship destroyer. And finally you have INS Vakshir, which is the 6th and final submarine, project 75 Kalavari class. And when you talk about this class and this stealth submarine, it is the best in the world. It is the best in the world. So again I'll repeat it, INS Nilgiri, 17A frigate, part of project 17A frigate. It is a stealth frigate. This word please always remember, stealth. Very important. Next is INS Surat. This is the 4th and final ship. It's a INS destroyer. It is a warship destroyer, and it is part of project 15B destroyer. So project 17A frigates Nilgiri, project 15B destroyer INS Surat, and finally INS Vakshir, which is a submarine, 6th and final submarine of project 75 Kalavari class. So these are 3 important, 2 important ships and 1 important submarines which have been commissioned by the Indian Navy. Very important for your prelims perspective also. Some comments have come. I'll be taking the comments. Let me just complete this news, and please give your comments on this important news. It's a wonderful news. Okay, this is entirely changing the military complex, geopolitics, and the Chinese Navy and the Pakistan Navy might not be giving any comments, but the fear mongering in them that Pakistan is already scared. Let's not even talk about China understanding that India is moving on indigenization. The way every 7 to 10 days we get a news that a new ship is coming, a new submarine is coming, a new weapon is coming, or for that matter a new howitzer is coming. Every 7 to 10 days, 15 days, some indigenization news is coming. So this way we are moving forward, and the Navy's goal is also, if I'm correct, that every month they want to produce a ship, something like that we had covered earlier also. I'll be taking the comments. Let me just complete this news. So INS Nilgiri stealth frigate of project 17A, it has enhanced firepower and attack range. So obviously it is the latest one. So firepower and attack is very high. Introduction of deck rail system. So you might have seen the deck rail system. It's like, guard rail. So this is, this part which you see, this is your deck rail system. So it's like a guard rail. Okay. It is like a guard rails that prevents people from falling from the ship or the stairs. So it is, even when you are walking stairs, so on the sides you have seen there's a guardrail which you hold and walk so that you don't fall. Similarly on ship deck also this guardrail is there to save you from falling. So for the first time, deck rail system for the first time it has been introduced in this ship, and first for India. It has a reduced heat signature. Since it has a reduced heat signature, that is why it has stealth capability, because when you have a high heat signature, it can easily come on the, using the sonar or the radar. So reflecting surfaces for greater stealth, improved stability due to a concealed deck design, that is also done. And one important thing which shows that how our forces are moving towards women equality, women empowerment. Structure modifications have been done to accommodate women officers and sailors, marking a progressive step for the Navy. So from the society point of view, from the equality point of view, from the design point of view, from defense point of view, from Atmanirbhar point of view, and from technology point of view, every box has been ticked marked by this news. Okay, so INS Surat, the final destroyer of Project 15B, technical and design maturity obviously over a period of time, and that you can see that this was the fastest construction. It was just done in 31 months, commissioned in 31 months compared to 54 months. So this has been done around 2.5 years. Earlier, if you talk about the first one which you designed, the destroyer, it took 54 months. So that is more than 4.5 years. Okay, but now it has come to 2.5 years. This also shows the prowess and how with efficiency we are able to build the destroyer. So very good, and claps and kudos and glory to the efficiency which we are building these destroyer. It is described best in the class with advanced air, surface and underwater combat capabilities. It is combat ready, reflecting improved efficiency and shipbuilding process. And it also tells about that how in ancient India, when we had one of the top class shipbuilding capabilities, if you go back in the history of, if you go back in the history of Cholas, even the Prime Minister talks about it. Now we are, from the ancient times when we used to be so great at shipbuilding, that amount of respect is coming back for the entire organization and in the Navy. So INS, I don't mean to say it was never, I mean to say we are going back to that era of top-notch shipbuilding. So INS Vakshir stealth submarine of Project 75, the most important line, it is the final and the most advanced diesel electric submarine in its class. Okay, so I don't mean to say in the world, but even if I talk in the world, it is one of the top most. So advanced diesel electric submarine in its class, described as the stealthiest submarine in the world. Okay, yes, stealthiest. That is why I said that it is the best submarine, the stealthiest class. So just imagine diesel electric submarine stealthiest in the world. That means the position in terms of diesel submarine needs to come out very often, but even then, it is the stealthiest submarine. Its position would be very difficult to find, and this is this kind of technology. And when we are making this kind of submarine, who knows, that even if Chinese and Pakistanis are coming, we can easily take care of them. And from the point of view of the Maritime Theatre Command also, this becomes important. So stealth submarine with unmatched capabilities, long operational durance. So unlike the typical diesel submarines which need to come out early, this will stay in the water for a longer period of time. And it aims to break record of INS break records like INS Vigir, which traveled 9,000 kilometers to Australian coast. So we will be hearing the name of INS Vakshir again and again. So what is the significance for this? Obviously, this is a huge maritime strength, and tomorrow if we are doing quad operation, interoperability operation, quad is quadrilateral security dialogue, which includes India, US, Japan and Australia. These kind of ships and submarines, we can have a tremendous exercise. The threat which is coming from Pakistan and China, it can easily be countered. And tomorrow if India, obviously Indian Navy wants to be the blue water Navy, and tomorrow if requirement is there to do an operations in South China Sea or somewhere, we are on the right track to do so, and our maritime strength is increasing. And again I have maintained in these lectures that you cannot become a developed superpower or specifically superpower if your weapons are being manufactured from some other country, because in global conflicts tomorrow, the country which is sending you weapons, they might stop the weapons, and then there can be a huge problem for you. So improved timelines for ship construction indicate India's growing capability in defense manufacturing. Obviously, from 54 months, you have moved to 31 months. Inclusion of women personnel shows inclusivity in defense services, women empowerment, and most importantly, we are moving towards equality. Now, Prime Minister has given these three important comments. There can be a question also framed on this, and there can also be a prelims question. So he said, INS Nilgiri inspired by the naval empire of Cholas. INS Surat celebrates India's ancient maritime links with West Asia. INS Vakshi reflects India's achievement in submarine building capabilities. So there can be these three. They will write Nilgiri, Surat and Vakshi, Prime Minister's three comments or three important dictates he has given on these, and they will do that. Match the following, a question can come. So INS Surat, Ancient India, INS Nilgiri, Chola and INS Vakshiris can be submarine building capabilities. Most importantly, they will switch the Surat and Nilgiri. So they will write INS Nilgiri, Ancient India Cholas, INS Surat, they will write maritime, some links or something like that. And that is how they will play with this, okay, to create a prelims question. So from the point of view, Prime Minister has spoken from development oriented global power. India is focusing on, global south. I've covered global south in multiple times in Daily Decode. What is global south? That is not geographical north and south. This is about global south, that those countries which were, which were imperialized, whose economy are still they're trying to become a developed country. India is one of the major countries which is taking the global south, doing its representation and being one of the leaders to take that forward. So, and the Prime Minister has also said that we are not an expansionist country unlike others. Okay, expansionist countries, when he says expansionist, obviously the focus is towards China. Okay, so maritime history, India's naval heritage serves as an inspiration for rising status as a maritime power. So there's no doubt about it. Yes, China is far ahead of us. They have the largest navy in the world, but that does not mean that will not stop and deter us to grow, and definitely great achievement. So indigenization and Atmanirbhar Bharat. So just see the numbers. Of the 40 platform commissioned by the Navy recently, 39 were made in Indian shipyards. What a wonderful news. We are buying technology and weapons from outside, because some of that which we are not able to make, for example, the fighter aircraft, jets, where we are lagging behind, but at least in Navy and the ships, the focus of the government is now giving the results, that the 40 ships which have been made, 39 were made in India. Over 5,000 defense equipments are now barred from being imported, reflecting India's growth and India's focus on Atmanirbhar Bharat. So indigenization and national security, I've already covered. Global tensions, you cannot be dependent on weapons from outside, and significance of the IOR region, India prowess in the Indian Ocean region, cementing it's as a very important dominant player and as a neighborhood policy. And we also focus on Sagar, that is growth for all in the region. And since we focus on growth for all in the region, that includes Mauritius, Maldives, Sri Lanka, Seychelles and everyone, it is important that we have a strong and strengthened navy. Then only this would be able to possible to deter any threats. Now moving towards an important question for today. That is INS Nilgiri is part of Project 15B destroyer. No. It's a stealth, 17A frigates. Project 15B is Surat. INS Vakshir is the final submarine of Project 75 Kalavari class. Yes. The commissioning reflects the India's focus on indigenization. Correct. So B is the correct answer, 2 and 3. Next is simultaneous commission of INS Nilgiri, INS Vakshir and Surat reflects India's rising maritime strength and focus on indigenization. Discuss the significance of this milestone for India's defense capabilities and regional influence. I think I've covered this in a lot of detail. I've explained to you. Obviously, the PDF is also there, which will help you in the answer. Apart from that, I've also added certain introduction, the body and the conclusion, which you can use to write your own answer. Okay. So before I move, certain comments were given related to this news. China may have advancements in naval asset, but the incumbent without a doubt is achieving superior milestone. Wonderful. The reliance on France for defense has really paid off, and the very good secure. Yes, specifically Bhuvan, in terms of submarine, it has paid. Sir, India's Navy has praised for its new advanced and submarine, highlighting growth and modern capabilities. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes. Ceasefire is important as Trump will not hesitate to use military force to an extent. Correct. External revenue services. I'm not covering that news. I will definitely cover in coming days. That was also there, and Palki has also spoken about that in the Vantage. So, first ports, I will try to cover that. Okay, good. Very good. You guys are back with the full energy. So, next news is Bangladesh Supreme Court acquits Khalidas. Yes, so this country is now officially going towards debacle. It is officially going through debacle. So first of all, Jamaat-e-Islami, the ban was gone. The radicalists, the ban was gone. Terror agencies and companies are roaming free in Bangladesh. Then Hindu minorities are being killed, their temples are being vandalized, then Chinmoy Das episode, all these things which we saw in 2024. So the start of 2025 has also been like this only for Bangladesh. I want to see what happens after January 20th, because important comments will come for Bangladesh and Pakistan. I think within the 10 days once he takes the presidency, or in some days after that. And I want to see, because this guy, Muhammad Yunus, I'm using the word guy because I don't feel he's a gentleman. Okay. So guys are also gentlemen for that matter, but this guy which you talks about, Mohammed Yunus, who is the interim advisor, the topmost advisor. He used to be very close to Democrats and Clinton. He got the highest American prize. But everybody knows that he's a lapdog of the, he used to be the lapdog of this organization, Democrats, and his statements are very much like this. Whenever Hindus are being killed, these are political. He said this is because of politics. So many of them are killed. Fake reports, and even his ministers are putting those maps and saying that we will take some areas of northeast. So nothing great can be expected from this government as of right now. Over a period of time, that India will slowly and steadily when it comes to Bangladesh, the arm twisting might start, but right now we are sitting tightly. We are also seeing that what kind of behavior it comes once the Americans are in the power. So let's see. But anyways, this news has come. Bangladesh Supreme Court acquits Khaleda Zia, and Khaleda Zia represents BNP. It is a extreme right-wing radicalist party. Under this party, the terrorism and the insurgency in northeastern increased, and the insurgent groups used to supply weapons. The drug culture had increased. Bangladesh also became part of the this golden triangle, which forms the part of Myanmar, Laos and Cambodia, even for that matter Thailand. So the more this drug trafficking, illegal weapons trafficking had increased, and Khaleda Zia's tenure was also more or less anti-India. But today, if I see, it used to be less anti-India compared to under Muhammad Yunus. Okay, so let's see what exactly will happen. But because she has been removed from this corruption charges, corruption charges are zero against her now, so she can fight the election. So Supreme Court acquitted former Prime Minister of Zia of corruption charges, clearing a path to contest coming election, and even her son Tariq Rahman, who would be the apparent heir, who will be taking the party after her, showing the dynastic politics in Bangladesh. So he has also been cleared. So for the next 20, 30, 40 years, the game has been set that after Khaleda Zia, her son would be taking over. So the political landscape of Bangladesh witnesses significant shift as the country prepares for the next election, which is expected around end of 2025 to somewhere middle of 2026. So November, December to May, June 2026, the elections are expected. And Muhammad Yunus is saying we'll do a lot of changes and election. And he recently has said that a lot of money was stolen by Sheikh Hasina. She should return it. Once she return it, the economy of Bangladesh will stabilize. So these comments have also come. So acquittal of Khaleda Zia. The 5-member appellate division of Supreme Court overturned the 2018 High Court. So obviously there is no doubt about it. I do not trust their court system. I do not trust their court system, because this is the same court which had put Chinmoy Das in jail. So I don't trust them, because all these judges and everything, they are because governors were removed, bank people were removed, all those people who supported Sheikh Hasina were removed. And right now they are doing, these decisions are coming. What populist demands are there? Populist demands are radical and extremist in nature, and that is why you are seeing these decisions also coming. So removal of these corruption charges is not a good sign for India. But in terms of at least election will happen, and Khaleda Zia can fight the elections, and if somehow things change, take a change happens, and who knows that Awami League will also be fighting the elections in 2026, because 1 year is a very long period of time. It is a long period of time. In the last 6 months, which we saw August 2024, Sheikh Hasina was gone. But what happens if in August 2025 Muhammad Yunus is gone and Sheikh Hasina is back? Anything can happen in international geopolitics. I've told you many times, there are no permanent friends, there are no permanent enemies. There's only one thing that is permanent interest. And who knows, Khaleda Zia and Sheikh Hasina coming together? Nobody knows. Okay. But let's see, that is hoping against hope. Only time will tell. Okay. So this marks the closure of the last corruption case against enabling her return to active politics. Some comment has come. I'll be taking the comment once I complete this news. So Tariq Rahman, Ms. Zia's sons and heir apparent was also acquitted, charged in the same case. Obviously, everyone would be acquitted. Anyone who is in the radicalist class, in the extremist class, and supported by those students, they would be free. Jamaat-e-Islami, the band was removed, which is a puppet and terrorist organization working under the Pakistani ISI. They are trying to, Bangladesh is trying to, improve relationship with the same Pakistan who did Operation Searchlight under General Tika Khan, killed and massacred more than 3 million Bangladeshis and raped so many women. So anything that is going on. Okay. So Khalida Zia has come back. Her acquittal provides an opportunity to reclaim leadership in Bangladesh political arena, and that would be there. And I think, Muhammad Yunus has lot of political aspiration and dreams, but he might also form his political party in coming 6 months with all these students and try to fight an election. I have a very strong hunch about it that he might do it, because all these student leaders which have been now appointed and selected as minister, it would be very difficult for them to leave this part. So some of these students might join BNP, and a new political party will also come under Muhammad Yunus. He might form. So this is my hunch and thought process. Let's see what exactly will happen. So the rivalry between Zia and Hesse, which has defined the rational policies for decades, enter a new phase. The elections are expected in 2026. Let's see what will finally happen. So this was the basic charge against her. This was the, this was the embezzlement of funds meant for establishment. A trust established during her tenure Prime Minister in 1991. She had, basically taken that money and used, but now the process is saying that, everything is fine and there is no corruption charge. And Muhammad Yunus is talking about Sheikh Hasina and her corruption. So the significance of the verdict is basically that things are not looking great, but at least BNP can fight elections will happen. This is the positive impact of this news which I can find. So important comment has come. What happened recently in Bangladesh politics, it's very important that you know what happened in countries. We know something about this. Tell us what is the biggest issues. SNA the roarer. SNA the roarer, I've taken this issue at least 40-50 times in Bangladesh. If you go back and go through the daily decodes, you will get to know. For you, this might be a current news. I've covered Bangladesh in detail, who were the people and what can be the repercussions. I'm already telling you the repercussions between India and Bangladesh is not looking good. If you go back, I've covered what happened in the High Commission, what happened between the Hindus being killed, and what is the repercussion, and how extremist and radicalist ideologies are coming in Bangladesh, which might propagate, they might be using, which might propagate the Northeast insurgency again. So if you listen in detail, you will understand. Go back to the previous daily decodes, which I've covered this news in multiple times. If you ask all these students who are coming regularly, they'll tell you that we have covered this. So today I cannot go back in that detail which I've covered. For that, please start watching on daily times and you will get to know. Sir, is the court of Bangladesh, they might be supporting, because all these leaders, eventually Parikshit, what has happened that all these leaders, if they are not following the popular diktat, their families are being harassed, and some of them being harassed that, either you leave Bangladesh or you will be killed. So this is a major problem which is going on. Okay. So this is a major problem which is going on. And SNA the roarer, if you have some specific question in terms of Bangladesh, I will try to explain it to you. But if you follow with me news on daily basis, you will start getting to know what I'm covering. The extremist Bangladesh will have problems on the entire Northeast. And if you see, I'll just tell you, so if this is your Siliguri corridor, and if Bangladesh is here, and this used to be your Doklam, and China would have occupied, and this 22 kilometers of Siliguri corridor is there. If these radicalists Bangladesh come and China come and they cut this Northeast, this Siliguri corridor, the Northeast would be gone. And that is why this radical extremist Bangladesh is not good, because whenever this happens, the insurgency Northeast increases and huge amount of money then would be spent on security forces to counter this, which is not at all good. That money would have gone to social and other schemes also. Okay. Anyways, so I've explained to you. Next is Concur Prelims 2025 batch. It is on starting on 15th January. This is the number for all details, and this is specifically for prelims under the guidance of Aditya sir and Sudeep sir. Sudeep sir for geography, Aditya sir for economics. Tough faculty when it comes to for your UPSC preparation. For all details, you can also call on the number. Now moving towards the editorial, a wonderful editorial, but a very serious issue also. And this is about rat mining. Okay, this is about rat mining. So, rat hole mining. So, what is rat hole mining? So, rat hole where rats stay in a very, or which you say rat burrows also, or which you can say rodent burrows. So, it is an illegal mining which is manually done, and people dig these, caves kind of things, mostly done in northeast, and they try to take out coal from there. Very precarious in taking out and very deadly to your life. So it's an illegal and highly hazardous method of extracting coal prevalent in certain pockets, mostly done in northeast, and mostly in northeast it is done very highly in Meghalaya. So unlike large scale mechanized mines where all these machines and people can go, this one is very dangerous in nature. It involves digging narrow, and sometimes even done from pickaxes, even hands are used, and it is back breaking in nature. Horizontal tunnels barely large enough for single person to squeeze through. So this image will tell you see a child out there, and these are kind of small caves or holes. This is example of your rat mining. Okay, you see this person how he is entering. He cannot even properly stand, and then he will enter there thousands of meters inside, and very difficult, and you will take out the coal. So this also tells one important thing why people are doing this, because huge amount of poverty is there, and they are being forced to do this. This also tells us a very important factor, which is that we need to fight poverty in northeast. More employment opportunities needs to be created, otherwise this will continue. We have also always heard about the scavengers issue, so this will continue. Okay, now moving further into this, these tunnels referred to as rat holes can extend tens of meters underground. So these people use ropes, bamboo ladders, makeshift support, and they will enter these crammed up places. Even proper oxygen is not there, no ventilation is there, and they will use pickaxes, shovels, even sometimes bare hand, and extracted coal is then hauled back up through the narrow passages. Entire process is incredibly dangerous and back-breaking, and it is very life-threatening. So this is rat hole minings in the Silkyara tunnel. These were the people who saved people's lives, but this is not what people need to do. This is not. This is a life-threatening employment. If you are getting into more and better employment opportunities, needs to be provided to the people who are doing this. Okay. Now, why we are talking about this? Because of coal mining tragedy in Dima Haso, Assam, has led to 4 deaths, reigniting the concern over rat hole mining. And what is rat hole mining? Unsafe, primitive techniques which involves workers manually digging tunnels to extract, often risking their lives. In the times of 2025, when we are talking about INS Vakshi, we are talking about Surat, Nilgiri, the top frigates and submarines, and destroyers. When we can do this, and when we can create such weapons of mass destruction with so much of indigenization, and some of them in 31 months, certainly we can solve this problem. In the age of 2025, this should not happen. The problem is this is happening, and this also shows, first of all, it does show the hazards of rat hole mining. It also shows there's a huge problem of employment opportunities. And second, if this is happening, certain government officials are directly in connivance with these people or with some, person in corruption, and that is why this is happening openly. So it's primitive and dangerous, lacks modern technology. There's no doubt about it. Severe health risk for workers, including children, long-term environmental degradation, contamination of local water sources. And there's one more problem, that when these people are entering, they don't even know there might be a aquifer. For example, say they are entering here and they're digging. Some person is digging and 5 people have entered here. So they are digging here, they don't know there's a huge amount of water source. So sometimes even the water enters, and all these people, because of water, they die. They're not able to breathe. They're not able to come out. So this is very dangerous. Okay. So recurring accidents like the one in Dima Hasa are frequent due to poor regulation and oversight. So NGT had banned in 2015, Supreme Court 2019 observation was that there might be certain people or maybe certain government official on their connivance, there might be corruption, there might be other reasons that this is still continuing. So state negligence is there despite the ban, and regulated rat mining is continuing in Assam, it is also continuing in Meghalaya. This needs to be stopped. Okay. So sustained demand industries such as cement and thermal power continue to drive demand for coal, and that is why these people try to take out coal, sell it to them and make their living. The problem is not the demand. The problem is that these people do not have other jobs. We need to give them other employment opportunities. Otherwise, this will continue. In 2023, rat hole miners were facilitated for their, for rescuing workers in Silkyara. But the dangerous nature of their trade, we need to look after them. Otherwise, we will have more incidents like Dima Haso. It has happened in Assam. Every 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, these kind of incidents will keep happening. Similar to the stampede incidents. Like a stampede incident happened on the Vaikuntha Ekadasi in Tirupati temple. Now, we had covered the stampede issue earlier also during the Allu Arjun's Pushpa 2, when he had a surprise visit. So again, we had covered that stampede issue, that if you don't have guidelines, these will have problems. In Tirupati, obviously the issue can be, since the more number of devotees were there, so there can be different kind of guidelines to stop them or make it better. Editorial has come for today on that also, you can read it. And since if we do not work on the stampede issue, it will continue, same as with the rat mining. Also, employment opportunities need to be there. Economic disincentives, crackdown on illegal mining, alternative livelihoods, and technology and prevention is the way to go. So we have a UPSC mains question. Illegal mining practices like rat hole mining poses significant economic and environmental challenges. Discuss in the light of recent incidents, suggesting ways to effectively address these issues. So I've given you certain pointers through which you can write your answer. And in the extra mile, please go through the red flag as China's expansion strategy rolls on. Wonderful editorial. Please go through it. And thank you very much for today. ICANN 2.0, you can definitely follow this new current affairs, which is taken by Sapna ma'am. And thank you very much for today. And comment is that this is sad, sir. Similarly, poverty has been driven in the Africa. Correct. Illegal gold mining. Yes, that's a very good point, Parikshit. Even children are used because they have smaller fingers. So for manual digging, they are good. Yes, action needs to be taken. And you are correct about the violation of the article of fundamental rights, better education infrastructure. Absolutely. Both of you are absolutely correct and bang on the point. That is what we are talking about. Action needs to be taken. Otherwise, this will continue. Okay. So I think we had a wonderful session once again, and in detail and everything. Please share it, like it. And I hope I was able to answer the roarer answer. Come again and again, and you will get to know what is happening in Bangladesh also and everything. Thank you very much. It was lovely talking to you again. We'll meet up at 10 AM tomorrow. Take care and Jai Hind.